Hi, and welcome to CDEC SBSN's monthly webinar series. My name is Nina Roldan, and I will be your host for today's presentation, Accounting Technology and Tech Trends that can save your business time and money. Before starting the presentation, let me remind you that throughout the webinar, you will be invited to submit your written questions by using the Q&A box on the lower right-hand side of your screen. Additionally, this webinar is being recorded and will be sent along with the PowerPoint to all participants via email shortly after the presentation. Our speaker for today is Ryan Lazanis. He is the owner of Xen Accounting, a completely virtual Canadian chartered accountant firm which combines online accredited accountants with innovative software. Destined to shake up the boring world of accounting, Ryan created Xen Accounting to help make accounting more convenient, less time-consuming, and less irritating. A tech enthusiast at heart, Ryan enjoys recommending new and exciting cloud and mobile accounting applications to help give modern-day business owners access to their financial records 24/7. Accounting aside, Ryan, a McGill and Concordia graduate, has been an active DJ in Montreal for over half a decade and is passionate about traveling to faraway places that are too hard for me to pronounce. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Ryan.
Thanks, Nina. Good day, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Super excited to be part of this webinar series, and I'm really looking forward to the next hour we have together. Today I'm going to talk to you about the future of accounting, how it's going to impact your small business, how it's going to improve the collaboration with your accountant, and some pretty cool tech trends that we're seeing happening in the market right now. You know, we've all heard the typical accounting webinars, the ones that talk about how to read a balance sheet, how to pick a year-end date, whether you should take salary or dividends, what expenses your business can deduct, and so on. But not only is this pretty dry subject matter, it's also information that's readily available through a quick Google search. So today I want to talk to you about something that's new in the world of accounting, something a bit more exciting. When it comes to your accounting as well as your accountant, it's really been the same old story for decades. Even though technology has progressed, accounting for your small business hasn't. Most of the time you dread it, you're procrastinating it, and it's the last thing in the world you want to think about when you're running your business. Luckily though, technology is starting to make accounting a whole lot easier, a lot less stressful, a lot more convenient, and believe it or not, a lot more fun. Before I go on, I just want to thank CDEC for allowing me to participate in this Lunch and Learn series. So I just want to thank them for that. And I just want to also give you a bit of background about myself before we go on. As Nina mentioned, I run a completely virtual 100% cloud-based chartered accountant practice called Xen Accounting. It's based in Montreal. I personally really believe in technology and what it could do for small businesses, and I do consider myself a techie. In fact, without technology, my firm would literally cease to exist. Prior to starting my own practice, I worked in your typical traditional small accounting firm for many years, and I started Xen Accounting because I felt that the traditional accounting firm really needed to move forward with the times. You know, the internet has disrupted just about every industry on this planet, and with little innovation happening in the traditional accounting firm, I felt it was time to move things a bit more forward into the future. So the technology that's available today is not only going to help ease your accounting, but it's actually going to improve other areas of your business by streamlining your workflows and by making your business processes more automated and more efficient. Throughout this webinar, I'm not only going to point out areas where your accounting can be improved with technology, but I'm also going to discuss some of the leading tech trends that your business should certainly take a look at. So while personally I offer the normal services that most accountants typically do, I tend to offer them in a different light with a heavy emphasis on technology, and with that also comes improvements to other areas of the business, not just the accounting side of things. A lot of this cool new technology is available right now as we speak, and it could save you time, save you stress, and add convenience to your life when it comes to your business's accounting. You're going to get an insight into your business like never before. It's also going to turn your business into something that's more automated and more efficient, and even allow you to collaborate more closely with your accountant. So this really is the theme that's going to be repeating itself throughout the webinar. So what exactly is this groundbreaking technology, and how is it all made possible? I'm going to sum it up for all of you in 2 words. It's the cloud. And in fact, the cloud isn't even a new technology at all, but it's the way that we're leveraging the cloud today that's really helping reshape businesses of all shapes and sizes. Quite literally, it's probably the hottest tech trend going on at the moment. Really quickly, the cloud is basically another word for the internet. Instead of storing data or your applications on your computer's hard drive, you're storing them online and in the cloud, which is accessed via your web browser. So the benefits of the cloud are really numerous. I'll just go over a few of the major points. Probably the biggest advantage of the cloud is that you could have access to your data from any place in the world and on any device as long as there's an internet connection present. With cloud-based applications, there's never any software updates that need to be done by the user, and everyone is always on the same version, so there's never any compatibility issues. And your data is always securely encrypted and automatically backed up, so you don't have to worry about losing it. The main driving force of the cloud is the ability to access your software, apps, and data wherever you are, whenever you want it. And you might be asking yourself why an accountant is talking to you about the cloud today. Well, the fact of the matter is that we are living in an increasingly mobile world. If you're a business owner, you likely own several computers, a smartphone, and maybe even a tablet. So we want to be able to access that data wherever, whenever, which is why the cloud is so important, especially for business owners. Having your financial data at your fingertips will allow you to make better business decisions. The cloud is also great for having convenient access to your data, but what does it make a difference to have your accounting software in the cloud? Because personally, I truly believe that your cloud accounting system is going to be your core business app moving forward. And now that we've spoken a bit about the cloud, I'm going to talk a bit about why moving your accounting system to the cloud will likely have a major positive impact on your business for several reasons. Not only that, it's going to help you stay on top of your accounting like never before, which in effect puts you back in control of your day-to-day accounting, not your accountant. This might sound a little bit scary, but think about it. You need to know who you owe money to and when all the time. You need to know who owes you money and when all the time. You need to check your profitability, your cash flows, your budgets, and many other reporting options. And you want to be able to do this daily, not months after year end, which is why I think all business owners in this day and age should be connected to their accounting system in one way or another. And the easiest way to get this information where you want it, when you want it, is to have your accounting system in the cloud, not stored on your accountant's computer for only him to see. On top of that, depending on the business, you might also want to grant other users to have certain access or permissions on your accounting software to perform various functions. Having your accounting software in the cloud and not in one centralized location means that everyone could do their job more easily. And just because you have access to your accounting software doesn't mean you need to do your own day-to-day bookkeeping. It just means that you need to be connected to it and you need to see what's going on. So you could have your typical desktop accounting software installed at a centralized location in your office, and you could still continue to get your accounting done. But the fact of the matter is, as mentioned before, we're living in a mobile world. We need to have access to this data in different places. This is going to allow us to make better business decisions by having this data being more accessible. Employees are working remotely more than ever, and this trend is expected to increase as time goes on. Employees might need to have access to their accounting system to complete certain tasks, such as creating invoices, bills, or expense reports while on the road. And having your accounting system only on site limits how closely you can collaborate with your accountant, which is a big factor in my opinion. If everyone's on the same version and there's no compatibility issues and everyone can access this through their web browser, then the collaboration gap could be closed between business owner and accountant. Everyone's on the same page, everyone sees the same data, and bookkeeping could be cleaned up on an ongoing basis rather than just once a year at year end. The accountant also can gain better insight into the business by being able to access your financial data year round, and this could really help give better advice on an ongoing basis. So not only that, cloud-based systems have been developed to be simpler to use and much more intuitive than your typical traditional desktop accounting systems. So some of my clients didn't even know what a financial statement was before getting started on their cloud accounting system. Essentially, these systems are designed for the business owner to use, not the accountant. So, even if you have no knowledge of accounting, you'd be able to operate this after, let's say, a 45-minute training session. So, fact of the matter is, most of my clients have switched from a traditional accounting setup to a cloud-based setup, and even started doing the bookkeeping themselves when previously they had a bookkeeper or accountant doing this for them. So now they're saving time, saving money, and getting much better insight into their business. And the cloud has really simplified their day-to-day bookkeeping for several reasons, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later on. Because of all this, and due to the way the internet is reshaping the way we do business, there is really no reason for your small business not to switch your accounting to the cloud. I'm going to speak a little bit about some of the major benefits of cloud accounting. We touched on that briefly, but I'll just go over a few of the major points. As mentioned, the cloud accounting systems right now are developed for the business owner to use, not the accountant. So they're easier and they're more intuitive, and a lot of the manual data entry has been eliminated. You can connect your system to your bank, your credit cards, and PayPal, and they'll automatically download your transactions on a daily basis. And this basically means you could save hours a month on manual data entry that typically was necessary with your older accounting systems. Also, as mentioned, accountant and business owner can collaborate a lot better. Some of the cloud accounting systems can even help you get paid faster and speed up your collections and streamline your collections, because you can connect PayPal and other payment gateways to your cloud accounting system. When you send, once you create an invoice in the system, you can have it emailed out, and the client or customer could input their credit card information directly on the invoice. So it's just another way to get paid. And personally, I find that collections has really sped up in my business because of this. Another nice feature about a lot of these systems is that you have a nice visual dashboard that comes along with it. So it gives you a snapshot of your business at a point in time, and it gives you some nice reporting options, which are very easy to view whenever you log in. So I've had clients that previously had to hire an administrative assistant just to coordinate the bookkeeping between the business and the external accountants. It was really an administrative nightmare a lot of the times. But now in this example, this same administrative assistant is doing the bookkeeping herself. The business is saving time, they're saving money, they're keeping things in-house, and they're getting better insight into their business. So let's talk a little bit about some of the cloud accounting systems that are available, and there really are quite a few at the moment. My preference is a system called Xero, but the other popular cloud accounting systems are Wave, FreshBooks, QuickBooks Online, and Cashew. I'm not going to go too deeply into the comparisons of different cloud accounting systems in this webinar, but I'm going to give an idea about a few of the systems that are available right now. If anyone's interested, I've recently put out a comparison of the best cloud accounting systems for Canadians on TechVibes, which is a pretty large Canadian tech blog. So if anyone wants to have a read at it, feel free to just send me an email at the end of this webinar. So let's take a look at my preferred system, which is Xero, and I'm definitely a Xero fan. They're making some serious moves. It's a New Zealand-based company. But they've raised almost $200 million late last year to go after the North American market. So they have offices now in the U.S., and they'll be touching down in Canada by the end of the year, hopefully. They're really geared for small businesses, and they keep things simple by giving you the features that you need, not everything under the sun. Xero connects to your bank, credit cards, and PayPal, so it downloads your transactions on a daily basis to eliminate a lot of the manual data entry. It has basic invoicing capabilities. It has good reporting options. And really my favorite part about Xero is that it has a developer-friendly API that allows for third-party developers to integrate their apps into Xero. So if you wanted a more robust invoicing system with time tracking, you could integrate this into Xero. If you wanted a CRM to track your suppliers or customers, you could also integrate this into Xero. If you're doing your own payroll, same thing. You can integrate a payroll service into Xero. So there's really hundreds of different apps that you can integrate into Xero to avoid manually entering information into two different pieces of software. And if you're a developer and you're a bit tech savvy, you need something a bit more specific, you could literally develop your own app to integrate into Xero, which is pretty cool. As mentioned, something like Xero is going to help you get paid faster because you can integrate PayPal or Stripe, which is another payment gateway, directly into your invoicing. So whenever you invoice a customer or client, that customer or client could put in their credit card information or their PayPal information, and once done, that invoice is automatically marked as paid in your accounting software. They also have a smartphone app, which helps you get things done on the go, and they have some really, really great client accounting collaboration tools. So directly in the software and directly in the user interface, the business owner could write notes, or the bookkeeper could write notes if they're confused about certain things. And then once the accountant logs into their version of Xero, they'll be able to see those notes and go directly into the file to see exactly what's causing any issues. So that's one feature that I really like a lot. Another system that's very popular, especially in Canada, is called Wave. They're a Canadian company based out of Toronto, and something I like about Wave, and what a lot of business owners typically like about Wave, is that it's very simple to use and the learning curve is extremely low. So you don't get as many features with Xero, but if you need something, your accounting to be a bit more basic, Wave is going to give you some very good, is a very good option. Users also like the cost of Wave in that it's 100% free. So there's absolutely no cost to use Wave. It's a 100% free accounting system. There are add-ons that do cost money, such as, let's say, payroll, or if you want to use their payment system. There are different add-ons to that, but their accounting software is free. They also connect to your bank and your credit cards to download your transactions. They'll help you get paid faster on your invoices by integrating their payment service. And Wave is always continuously pushing out great new features. So they're not staying still, and they're definitely listening to the market. And you could expect lots of good things coming out from them. QuickBooks Online is, everyone's heard of QuickBooks. They've been the largest software accounting platform, desktop accounting platform for many years now. And they really see the direction that things are heading in, and they're making a very big push to the cloud right now. So they've had their cloud product now for a little while, and they just refreshed it, and they're putting a lot of their efforts into the cloud right now. So if you're really a QuickBooks fan, and they have a product that's really well suited for a Canadian market, they're definitely worth a look as well. And the last system that I'm going to talk about is FreshBooks. They're Canadian. I wouldn't consider FreshBooks a full accounting system. I'd consider it more of an invoicing software with expense tracking, which works out very well for unincorporated businesses, so sole proprietors, consultants, or freelancers. These are generally businesses or individuals that need to simply track revenues and expenses for their T1 tax returns at the end of the year. FreshBooks is excellent for that. If you need to track full financial statements, such as balance sheet and income statement, and on your balance sheet you'd have your assets and liabilities, FreshBooks won't allow for that. It's just going to track the income statement side of things. So I fully recommend FreshBooks for those that just need to track revenues and expenses, or those who need a more robust invoicing service, because their invoicing system allows you to track time and build this out in your invoices. It also allows you to do project-based invoicing and tracking, which may be interesting for some people. If you needed a more robust invoicing system, then you could use something like FreshBooks. and integrate that into a system like Xero to track your accounting. So that's a very popular option at the moment. They also have a smartphone app, and it connects to PayPal. So there's lots of good features there. Basically, there's really no debating or denying the fact that the trend is moving your accounting system to the cloud. You know, some of the older software providers like QuickBooks, they recognize that. They're making a big push. You know, moving your accounting to the cloud might be a relatively new concept at the moment, and there are many accountants that are quite resistant to this change, but there's just no denying what's happening in the market right now. So my full recommendation in the case of just about every small business is to get informed on some of the systems I mentioned just before and get yourself onto one of them. You know, I really think systems like Xero are the future for accounting. When I say that I see your accounting system as the core app in your small business, I think of systems like Xero, because Xero is developer friendly and allows you to integrate practically whatever you want into it. So the possibilities are just endless. Think of how the iPhone, you know, revolutionized your cell phone. It wasn't just about talking on it anymore. It was about downloading apps and a more modular, customizable approach. It's the exact same thing with a lot of the cloud accounting systems at the moment, particularly Xero. What integration really means is this. You use one software for accounting and another piece of software, let's say, for sending out quotes. In this example, you typically would create a quote. The quote would be accepted, and then you would create an invoice separately in your accounting system. With integration, you would link these two pieces of software together, and then you would no longer need to create an invoice in your accounting system. The accepted quote would automatically turn into an invoice and perhaps even automatically be emailed to the customer. So the idea here is to automate and streamline. Essentially, all that day-to-day accounting is making sure that your business transactions are recorded in your accounting software. If there was an easy way to get this data into your accounting system, then your accounting wouldn't be time-consuming and it wouldn't be frustrating. This is the goal of integrations. Use software that will capture data from all your business processes and then sync this data to your accounting software. I'm personally of the approach that you should automate your business processes using software and then integrate them. Each business has different business processes. The trend today is to automate these processes as much as possible with software, thereby reducing administrative tasks and manual data entry. And this is what we are trying to achieve with accounting integrations. The more software that you can integrate with each other, the more streamlined your business processes become. And if all this integrates with your cloud accounting system, then you can effectively avoid a lot of headaches and procrastination that has typically come with manually entering data into your accounting software. And as I mentioned before, the possibilities of integrations with your accounting platform are really endless. Going back to the example of creating quotes, if you have employees creating quotes on the road, you want to easily convert these quotes to sales invoices and then sync them to your accounting system. If you have a CRM, you'd maybe want to sync it to all the contacts you have from your CRM to your accounting software. And if you have a point of sale system in your store, you want to sync your daily register sales to your accounting system. Again, the possibilities are endless. Unless, using software to sync your business processes to your cloud accounting system will make your accounting, much easier than it typically has. And through integration, you're basically getting an accounting system running on autopilot. Now, we're not fully there yet, but we're really fast approaching. And these aren't new systems. They've existed for a long time now, but were traditionally reserved for larger businesses with deeper pockets. And the integrations were much more complex and required a larger investment. So today, businesses of all shapes and sizes can get an affordable integrated software solution. And this is really thanks to the cloud and the millions of software developers pushing things forward in that industry. If I had to choose my favorite app that integrates with your accounting system, I'd have to choose the one that turns your annoying shoebox of receipts into digital data and helps make your business a 100% paperless office. I truly believe that any business in this day and age can be paperless. There's tons of great technology out there to facilitate it. There's no need anymore to have mountains of paper everywhere. It gets messy, it takes up space, and at the end of the day, it takes up time. The other day, I had a Xerox salesman walk into the office, And he noticed the sign on the door, and he read it. When he came in, he asked, well, is this an accounting firm? And he looked around, and he says, well, you're an accounting firm with no photocopy machine. And I said, well, that's because we're 100% paperless. And he just really couldn't believe that an accounting firm could be paperless. So I'm really of the opinion that if an accounting firm can go paperless, then just about any business in the world can do that also. Typically, paper is associated with accounting. You have bills, invoices, contracts, receipts. Lots of business owners are still using the shoebox approach, where they stuff as many bits of paper into their shoebox, and at the end of the year, they enter it into an Excel or their accounting system. There's a much better way to handle this right now. Apps like Receipt Bank, Receipts by Wave, and Shoebox, among others, are turning your tiny bits of paper into digital data, all through the ease of snapping a picture of the receipt with your smartphone. The best part is that a lot of these apps will even extract the data for you right off the receipt, such as supplier name, the amount, the taxes, the date, and even categorize them into an expense category. Even better than that is that many of these apps can sync that data into your accounting system, which basically eliminates all the manual data entry that normally comes with it. From an accounting perspective, there are apps that can help streamline and automate the data entry process for all those annoying bits of paper. Although there are probably hundreds of these apps to help you stay organized in this area, I'm going to look at apps that integrate with your accounting system. Remember, as mentioned before, the goal of integrations is to streamline and automate. Eliminating manual data entry is really the key. Receipt Bank has to be probably my most favorite zero integration. It's one of the apps that I recommend to pretty much all my clients. You download it onto your iPhone or Android, snap pictures, and you snap pictures of your receipts. They're going to upload to Receipt Bank, where the data is going to be extracted for you, and they do it pretty quickly at that also. You can once this data is in Receipt Bank, you could export this to a zero, and your annoying bits of paper are in your accounting system with no manual data entry needed. The settings in Receipt Bank are pretty flexible, so you can control exactly how things are exported across. And they also give you tons of options on how to get your information into Receipt Bank, because little bits of paper are just one type of receipt that you might receive. You might receive bills and invoices in your email or inbox, so you could forward these invoices to your dedicated Receipt Bank email address, and they'll upload to Receipt Bank's server there. So you could take pictures with your smartphone. You have a dedicated email address. You could do a Dropbox integration if you keep all your bills and invoices there. There's really lots of different possibilities to get your bills, receipts, and invoices into Receipt Bank. Receipts by Wave is a very good feature of Wave Accounting. Their Receipts by Wave app is probably my most favorite feature from them. It's really easy to use. It's similar to Receipt Bank in that you download the app onto your phone, you take pictures of your receipts, and they're going to upload directly to the Receipts tab in your Wave account. So there's no integration necessary. This is something that's ingrained in the Wave software. So if you're on Wave, then this feature comes with it. You also have the option of uploading your receipts through the web app or emailing them to your dedicated email address. And once uploaded, Wave is going to extract the details for you. And one of the best parts about this feature is that it's totally free as well. So it comes with a free accounting system. You get this feature. If you are a QuickBooks fan and you're on QuickBooks Online, then you should check out the Shoebox integration. Shoebox is one of the leading apps in this space. I haven't personally played around with this integration too much, but these are two very popular pieces of software, so you might want to look at integrating these two together. And Receipt Bank also integrates with FreshBooks. So if you're using FreshBooks, and you want to get some receipts into it and avoid a lot of the manual data entry that typically comes with it, you could sign up for Receipt Bank and integrate this into FreshBooks. When choosing an app to replace your Shoebox, you want to choose an app that's going to save you time. And the best way to save you time is to integrate it with your accounting software. Without this integration, you're really going to be stuck manually entering things once again. The point here is to avoid this manual data entry and to automate things as much as possible. The apps I mentioned requires a bit of management on the part of the user, but really it's a million times better than that outdated shoebox approach. The apps I mentioned remove paper in one of your business processes, but there are other processes that may involve paper as well. So you have to identify those processes and use software that's going to remove paper in those areas. So I'll talk a bit about some other apps that help you go paperless. There's two important ones in my line of work, which might be important for some of you out there, and for others, maybe not so much. Right signature is definitely one of my favorite at the moment, and I use it for all contracts, engagement letters, anything that needs to be signed. So it helps you get things signed electronically. So, you know, typically with an accounting firm, in my line of work, there's a lot of, financial statements, tax returns, and so on that would need to be sent out to the client, or the client would need to come here, and they need to physically sign it. Now you could basically use products like Right Signature, send them out by email for electronic signature, and it's fully, it's totally legally binding in Canada. Google Drive is another very important part of my business. I use it to store all documents that I have on all, and it syncs across to all devices. So all documents are stored in the cloud, and if I'm at work, if I'm at home, if I'm out, I have the same information everywhere. It's also great for collaboration. You can share documents like Google's version of Word or Excel, and real-time editing can take place, which is great if you're collaborating with clients or coworkers or associates. So very, very good tool there. And basically, during this presentation, we really just scratched the surface of what's possible in this day and age when it comes to your accounting. The main theme that I'm trying to get at here is that everything from your software to your employees to your accountant should all be connected. In other words, there should be no disconnect. Everyone that needs to have access to your accounting system should. This allows for greater collaboration between the people in the business owner, and their accountant. All software being used in the business should be, for the most part, interconnected and integrated, and ideally running through your accounting platform. This will help achieve a level of efficiency and automation that small businesses have not yet been used to seeing. The only way to achieve this type of connection is really through the cloud. This is the main piece of technology that will really serve to connect all people, software, and devices. There's really no reason not to use this technology. It's there, it exists, and it's really time to make your accounting a whole lot easier. So, if anyone has any questions at all after this webinar, please feel free to contact me. You'll see my contact information later on in the screen. I just want to thank everyone for joining in. Thanks again to CDEC for letting me share my passion for accounting and technology. And I guess it's time to open the floor to questions.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. That was a very insightful presentation. Like you said, we were just scratching the surface on what virtual accounting can do for us. So I just want to remind everybody that this webinar is being recorded, and it will be sent along with the PowerPoint via email tomorrow. And also a reminder, if you'd like to submit your questions, please do so using the Q&A box, which is found on the right-hand side of your screen. Ryan, we had a couple of questions coming in about security and how secure cloud accounting really is, and what can we do to alleviate our fears in terms of security issues.
Yep. So, I mean, security is probably the one thing that always comes to people's mind because, your financial data is in the cloud. So what I always tell people is if you're comfortable doing your banking online, then you should be comfortable doing your accounting online. It's the same level of security. So if you're not comfortable doing your banking online, then this probably isn't for you. But, a lot of the systems are really heavily encrypted, and the data is backed up frequently. So, if you're scared about losing your data, then one way to mitigate that is to probably export reports on a monthly basis, just to make sure that you have physical backups of that data.
Okay. Another question came in about how do we pay for cloud accounting software? If we have multiple clients, how might we be charged for a subscription with a particular accounting software program?
So basically, it's a SaaS model, so it's software as a service. So typically, traditional accounting systems, you'd buy QuickBooks at let's say Bureau en Gros, and then you'd install it on your computer, and it's a one-time charge, and that's it. With cloud accounting systems, it's an ongoing fee. Some of them are $10 a month, some of them are $20 a month, some are $30 a month. It depends what features you need, which is interesting because you only pay for what you use. So you don't need to take the most expensive version if you don't need those features. So I mean, in my practice, basically, the cloud accounting software is included in all packages, so that cost is absorbed for the client. If the business owner is going out on their own and wanting to sign up, then it's on a monthly recurring basis.
Okay. And what about storage?
So storage is really not much of a concern because a lot of the systems are unlimited storage. It depends what you need to store exactly. I know Xero, for instance, they have a Dropbox type feature where you could store, depending on your the version that you're on. I think you could store up to, let's say, I'm not 100% certain, but it could be 10 or 20 gigabytes. So all the receipts, if you're using an integration like Receipt Bank, once the receipts are exported to Xero, you'll have an electronic copy of that receipt tied to the transaction in Xero, and that will take a few kilobytes of space. So you could really fit a lot of stuff in there.
Okay. We had a question that came in that's specific to a particular to Receipt Bank. Does it work with a BlackBerry?
I'm almost 99% sure that it doesn't. So a lot of these apps actually aren't working with BlackBerry, unfortunately. They're mainly on iPhone and Android. So that also could be an issue with BlackBerry users.
Okay. Let's see. There was a question that came in about sharing the documents, and I guess say I'm working on my document at home, and I go into the office and making sure it's available, or vice versa. I have a document at the office, and I come home and I need to make an urgent change. How accessible is it on the cloud, and is it easily accessible? Is it just a matter of a quick button?
It doesn't get any easier than that. So that's something you should look at, something like Google Drive or Google Apps, and you could have what's the similar. Google has a version that's similar to Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. So I do all my editing in Google Apps right now. And I'll make edits in, let's say, a Google Word document, and I don't have to save it or anything. Once I get home, that same document is available there. So it's really syncs across all devices. So you don't have to email the document back and forth to make sure you're on the same version. Just make changes in one of the Google App documents, and then it will save across and sync with all devices.
Okay. Now, what if we decide to go with another cloud company? So what happens when the relationship ends? When we have paper, we shred it. Yep. What do we do virtually? I guess that's the equivalent of that.
Yeah, so if I understand correctly, it's what happens when you're on one accounting system and you want to move to another. How do you get that data across? So basically, it's like any other, it's called like a conversion. You're converting your data from one system to another. So I'm seeing a lot of people now coming from QuickBooks, switching onto a system like Xero. So we take the information from QuickBooks, we take the closing balances, and we input them as opening balances in your new accounting system. If you want all the historical data from that accounting system, then you'd have to export that into, let's say, PDF or Excel, and then you'd have a copy of all your historical data. So you could have that for reference purposes, or you could use that to switch to a different accounting system.
Okay. And what about the data that was, say, in QuickBooks in the cloud? How do you destroy that data so it's no longer there?
How do you destroy the data that's in the cloud?
Yes. So I guess security,
Yep.
or you're ending that
Yep.
relationship completely,
Yep.
you're terminating the
Yep.
relationship. How do you, I guess safety matters, security
Yeah.
matters.
So every cloud accounting software is different. I know once you delete an account, you can't get that information back. So that information is destroyed with certain systems. I can't speak for all systems out there, but once you delete an account, once you permanently delete it, you can't get that information back. So I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen in a few instances where the account has been deleted and that information cannot be gotten back.
Okay. We have a question about recommendations. Would you recommend
Yep.
Google Drive over Dropbox?
You know, it's really a personal preference. I'm more, invested in the Google ecosystem. So for me, that's why I use Google Drive. But, they really serve the same purposes. There's pros and cons to both of them. Just the fact that I'm into the Google ecosystem and I'm fully invested in Google apps, that's the reason why I use Google Drive. But, if you like Dropbox or if you like Box, there's lots of different options out there. You just have to basically know what the pros and cons are.
Okay. And there was a question for the name of the blog that you mentioned earlier, your blog.
Yeah, it's Tech Vibes, TechVibes, Tech Vibes. So it's one of the largest tech blogs in Canada. So there's always some interesting articles there. I contribute regularly to talk about accounting and technology. So you're not always going to see stuff about accounting and technology, but you'll see stuff about happening around the country in terms of small business and technology.
Okay. We do have time for a couple more questions, so if you have questions, please submit them now via the Q&A box. Ryan, one of the things that came in was, does it matter if our accountant is not using these programs? Does it make a difference?
It doesn't. I mean, at the end of the day, the point that I'm trying to get at throughout the webinar was everything should be connected. So if there's a disconnect between the business owner and the accountant, then in my opinion, it's not ideal. Does it mean that your accounting still can't be done well? No. But it just means that things aren't going to be as efficient and they're not going to be as streamlined. And I also believe that the collaboration would not be as good, because that's really one of the main benefits of the cloud, to help with, to bridge the gap between business owner and accountant and make sure that collaboration is there.
Okay. And in terms of backing up the system,
Yep.
would you recommend, so I guess we have it in the cloud and then a hard backup onto an external hard drive? What type of disaster recovery plan are we looking at with something in the cloud?
Yeah, so I mean that's comes back again to this question of security almost, and what happens to our data. And if you're really concerned about losing your data, then basically I would look at exporting data on a regular basis from your cloud accounting system and just having a hard backup of that. The disaster recovery plan really, you'd have to look at the individual software provider to see how they handle things. But a lot of the larger ones, they do have a plan in place. So if you're with a larger cloud accounting system software provider, I wouldn't be too concerned.
Okay. We have a question that came in about the ideal time of the fiscal year to make the switch to cloud accounting. When would that be?
Yeah, if you want to be ideal, you do it on the first day of your new fiscal year. So if your year end is, let's say, November 30th, then December 1st is a good way to do it. But at the end of the day, it's not a huge difference, because you're just taking your closing balances from your last accounting system and putting them as opening balances in your new system. So there's really no ideal time, but the first day of your fiscal year, some people are more comfortable with that, and other people just want to make the switch as soon as possible. So it all comes down to personal preference.
Okay. Are there any limitations to these types of software?
Limitations in what respect?
I am not sure.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
say capabilities, I suppose.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of them are, if you look at your typical, traditional QuickBooks desktop system, they have a ton of features. And that's one of the reasons why, you almost have to be an accountant to operate it, because there's so much going on. There's so many settings. And, it's really not intuitive or easy to use. So it's really more full-featured than a lot of the cloud accounting systems out there. So the limitation is the cloud accounting system is your core app. That's what I was trying to get at in the webinar. It's your core app. If you needed to do something else, if you need to track, if you need inventory management, for instance, then you'd look at another piece of software and you'd integrate it into your accounting system. So a lot of the cloud accounting systems, they don't have inventory management capabilities, as an example. So then you'd look at other systems, other software, and integrate it. So it's more modular.
Okay. And is that easy to do, to integrate all the systems so that they're all working together, or is it better just to kind of get an all-around packaged software that can do all of these things?
I mean, I like the more modular approach because, the packaged software, again, you're going back to your traditional desktop accounting system, and, we've been dealing with that for a long time now, and I don't know any business owner that likes to use QuickBooks or, the desktop version or Simply Accounting. I haven't come across any. And, once they switch to one of these cloud systems, it's like night and day. They're actually, you could tell that they're very happy on this, and they don't know how they did without it. So it's really night and day for the business owner. And I wouldn't, if I was the business owner, I wouldn't worry too much about the integrations. I'd let someone that, knows how to handle that look into that, because it's not, building a system or systems implementation isn't, it's not the simplest thing. You need to know how things are going to be recorded in your accounting system, because if you just integrate all sorts of different software into your accounting system with not knowing what you're doing, then it's going to create a mess in your accounting software.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Are there any businesses where cloud accounting is not well suited for?
I'd say it's very well suited for smaller businesses, but once you're above a certain threshold, if you're a large corporation, I'm talking, hundreds of employees, and if you're a very large corporation, then this is probably not for you. But if you're a small business, then I definitely take a look at cloud accounting software. So I'd say that's the limitation. These systems are meant for small businesses.
We have a question that came in about how will our management strategies change with the cloud software?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
How will our management strategies change with the cloud software?
Management strategies. Trying to interpret that. I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but I mean, personally, I think that you're going to get more insight with these systems. You're going to get better reporting tools. You're going to be able to make better business decisions, and as such, I think your strategies will be based more on the numbers. Typically, business owners have been kind of blind to what's going on in their, for their accounting throughout the year, and only see if they're profitable or if they make a loss after their year end is already passed. So if you could see what your profitability is like on a daily basis or on a monthly basis, then you could shape your business decisions around that, and as such, your strategies are going to be changing.
Okay. We have time for a few more questions. I just did put Ryan's contact information up in case if you'd like to contact him. His contact information is on the slide currently. As a reminder, we're also sending out the PowerPoint presentation and a recording of the webinar tomorrow. So, Ryan, I think that we have pretty much covered the questions that have come in so far.
Okay.
I'd really like to thank you for your time. It was very insightful, and I know we have a lot of attendees on the line that did get a lot of information. I do have one question that just came in is asking
Yep.
about a dashboard,
Yep.
management by dashboard.
Okay.
And if you can kind of maybe kind of give us some quick notes about that.
Okay. They want to know about the dashboard or
Management by dashboards, let's see.
management by dashboard?
Hmm.
I'm not sure.
Let me see if I can get some more information.
Yeah.
Is there a dashboard feature, I suppose, on any of the cloud accounting software?
Yeah, so most of them have a dashboard, and basically what that does is it shows you what your it's going to show you a very brief overview of what's going on inside your business at that point in time. So it's going to show you what your receivables are, and it will show you a graph or a chart based on how old some of those receivables are. Same thing with your payables. It will some dashboards allow you to customize what you want to be able to see there. So if you have certain categories or accounts that are important to keep an eye on, such as, let's say, your sales accounts or your revenues accounts, and you want to see what your sales are, every time you log into your system, you could have that on your dashboard. It's going to show you, some of them show you, pie charts of, how much money is going out in proportion to what expenses. So, the dashboard is there to give you just a visual overview of what's going on inside your business.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there a way to customize access to the dashboards? Like, say, I have complete access, but I only
Yep.
want, somebody else to just see the snapshot
Yep.
of
Mm-hmm.
what's happening.
There's no way to customize who could see what on the dashboard, but there are ways. Like, I know Xero allows you to manage permissions for users, so you can add an unlimited amount of users at no cost into Xero. So if you have 10 different employees that need to have access to the accounting software for, just to create draft invoices, then you could have them just create draft invoices, and they wouldn't see the reporting that's going on. They wouldn't see, your financial statements. They wouldn't see the more sensitive type data that you might not want them to see. So you can manage permissions on certain systems, but not in terms of the dashboard.
Okay. And what about customer service? So
Yes.
If you have questions, if you need help with accessing some information, or
Yep.
how good is customer service for these types of software companies?
I mean, they're quite good. I deal with Xero a lot in their customer service. I mean, they get back to you within 24 hours. So they deal mostly by email, but at times you might get a phone call, but 99% of the time you're going to deal with email, and I haven't had any issues there. So customer service has been very well with them, very good with them. Wave has excellent customer service. I could definitely attest to that. QuickBooks Online as well. So I mean, no issues with customer service.
Okay, good. Well, I think that just about wraps us up for the day. Thank you very much for your time, Ryan. It was very helpful.
Thank you to everyone for joining in.
Yes. If you'd like to become a member with CDEC, membership is currently free, and the key benefits include expanded connections and resources, increased visibility, event discounts, enhanced business support, knowledge sharing, and webinars such as the one that you are attending today. We invite you to visit CDEC's website and check out our upcoming webinars and activities. Our next webinar is going to be on Tuesday, March the 11th, from noon until 1 p.m. on ways to monetize your passion, creative entrepreneurship. When leaving the presentation, we invite you to fill out the feedback survey, which appears in your internet browser. Your comments and feedback are greatly appreciated. This concludes today's presentation. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to your participation next month. Thank you.